Early in the morning on September 20th, 2016, armed law enforcement officers in masks forced their way into a religious building of Jehovah's Witnesses in the village of Nizlobnaya, Stavropol territory.
I was keeping watch in the building when I saw on the monitor that several vehicles had driven up and people in black masks got out. They jumped over the fence and broke the lock on the gate. They drove their vehicle into our property and began using a circular saw to cut the entry door. They cut the hinges and entered the building. When they saw me, they said, "Hands out of your pockets and go outside."
The security camera footage shows the officers spreading out in the building. Several officers entered the hall on the first floor, and two of them, in the presence of their colleagues, pulled banned literature out from under their clothing and placed it in a cabinet nearby.
We regularly inspect our religious building to make sure there are no strange items or banned literature. As usual, an inspection had been made the night before, and there was nothing in this cabinet. It was empty. But the security camera footage clearly shows officers supposedly seizing literature from this part of the cabinet while the other shelves were still empty.
The law enforcement officers also seized audio and video equipment. When the representative of the building's owner arrived, the officers did not permit him to participate in the search.
The officer who was in charge of the search did not identify himself and did not let me see the search order. When I asked him to give me a copy of the order, he rudely demanded that I leave the building. So I had no choice but to comply and leave the building.
Hello, everybody.
We're back for another video. I don't know how quite quick this one's going to be, but we've got some breaking news. Yep.
Breaking news. Yep. And happy dance. So.
Yes.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
M&M's, the addiction that lasts a lifetime.
I'm going to end up giving you diabetes.
Probably.
Wow.
Man, it looks like I got a little thing going on with my hair here. It's just not staying back. I guess I got to put some more gel in it, don't I?
Wow. Okay, so like we said, breaking news, and we want to thank Barbara Anderson for posting this on Facebook because, and before all the witnesses say this is fake news,
yeah.
This is from your own website. Go visit it once in a while. Okay, when you go to jw.org, click on Newsroom. And by region, January 16th, 2017, Russian appellate, I can't talk today, court dismisses witnesses' appeal against warning. Now, we all know that Russia has banned Jehovah's Witnesses as an extremist group and has, been trying to get rid of them. And Jehovah's Witnesses, we're not extremists. Yes, you are. Any group that shuns your family members are extremist groups.
Yeah. Think about it, Jehovah's Witnesses.
You are an extremist group.
When you practice shunning, you are doing something that's extreme, and it also fulfills Bible scripture in 2 Timothy that says no natural affection.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to read this right from jw.org. And like I said, you can all go, check it out. On January 16, 2017, the Moscow City Court dismissed the witnesses' appeal that challenged the legality of the Prosecutor General's warning issued against their national headquarters. The three-judge panel rejected all arguments filed by the witnesses' attorneys and rendered its decision after a 10-minute recess. It took them only 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Why does it take Jehovah's Witnesses decades sometimes to see through the bullshit? I mean, why did it take us decades?
I guess we're a little slow.
Yeah, I guess so. But it took these guys only 10 minutes to realize that they're dealing with a pile of bullshit.
Yeah. Continuing. The decision upholds the October 12, 2016 Tversky District Court decision that ruled in favor of the Prosecutor General's office. The warning dated March 2nd, 2016 is now enforceable. However, it is still unclear what implications the warning will have on witnesses' religious freedom in Russia. Would you want to fathom a guess?
No, but we'll tell you what the implications are.
Now, I'm going to put the link down below to this article. I've never seen starconnectmedia.com before. But since we read that directly from jw.org, that tells you that it is true, you know, that they did have this hearing and witnesses got their backsides kicked big time. The name of the article is Russia Gets Go-Ahead to Liquidate Jehovah's Witnesses Organization.
Yeah, liquidate that. You know what that means? Let me put it in layman's terms. They now have permission to take your property away from you and disperse it.
Yeah. Couldn't have happened to a nicer cult.
Oh, no.
Moscow, Russia. The appeal court in Moscow, Russia has granted Russian prosecutor the leave to liquidate activities of Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia after branding them extremist group. Which
it's official.
We know.
Now, isn't it interesting that this is not the United Nations turning on Jehovah's Witnesses, but this is just Russia turning on Jehovah's Witnesses?
Well, you know that Jehovah's Witnesses did their little appeal crying to the UN, to be able to have religious freedom.
Yeah. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo, it
Back
didn't help.
Back to the article. You guys want a blankie?
Yeah, where's Jehovah now?
The JW had appealed the decision and tried to establish that the accusations of extremist activity are based on fabricated evidence and false statements that have been manufactured by local authorities to portray sincere worship as criminal activity.
Oh, wow. I can't help but laugh and cry at the same time.
No, what it is Russia's been watching YouTube videos about ex-members.
Yeah, Putin gets a thumbs up from Mike and Kim, I'm telling you.
Yeah. In the October 12th, 2016 hearing, Judge M.S. Moskalenko of the Tverski District Court of Moscow did not allow testimony or video that exposed the illegal actions of the local authorities who are bent to ensuring that JWs do not exist in Russia. Now, I should mention that on jw.org, they have videos, and they actually say how the Russian authorities planted evidence and, you know, seized their property illegally and, you know, cry, wham, wham, wham. However, on January 16, 2017, the Moscow City Court dismissed the witnesses' appeal that challenged the legality of the Prosecutor General's warning issued against their national headquarters. The three-judge panel rejected all arguments filed by the witnesses' attorneys and rendered its decision after a 10-minute recess. The decision upholds the October 12, 2016 Tverski District Court decision that ruled in favor of the Prosecutor General's office. The warning, dated March 2, 2016, is now enforceable. Speaking before the hearing, international human rights lawyer James Andrick spoke of the implication. If the Moscow City Court dismisses the appeal, the Prosecutor General's office could act on its threat against the administrative center. It could liquidate the administrative center and further harass the religious communities of Jehovah's Witnesses and restrict their worship throughout Russia. Yeah. Good. If, on the other hand, the court upholds the appeal, it would be a breakthrough for justice, he said. However, Jehovah's Witnesses are a peaceful group who hold their worship in the open and denounce all sorts of religious extremism. Obviously, he hasn't researched JWs enough.
No, dude, you need to go on YouTube and watch some more videos.
Yeah. They believe in the Bible, which also encourages them to respect secular authority. It is now left to the world to appeal to President Vladimir Putin to halt this attempt to wipe out witnesses from Russia. Yeah, just talk to some of us on YouTube.
Yeah,
we'll
that's all you gotta do.
We'll be more than happy to help.
We'll be more than happy to give you written depositions as to how extreme Jehovah's Witnesses can be.
Yeah.
You know what? I know something firsthand that comes from a Jehovah's Witness that's trying to fade that his parents, who are Jehovah's Witnesses, made a comment that if we ever find out that you're gay, we're going to cut your penis off. That's how extreme these people think and how they feel about homosexuality.
Well, look at, that elder that was given a letter asking for spiritual help from a child abuse victim.
Threw it away.
Threw it in the fire.
Threw it in the fire. That's how extreme these people are.
Yeah.
Make no bones about it to the governments of the world.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I'm sitting here working on a comment to leave.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Yeah, they are extremists.
Give them a link to Mike and Cammy's YouTube channel. Give them a link to Mark and Cora. See how Mark and Cora were made to sit in a kingdom hall for 3 years before they could reassociate with their brothers and sisters. Extremism? 3 years? Really? 3 years? Come on. Jesus Christ forgave the harlot within a second or two. He turned around and said, "Where are your accusers?" They all left. Well, if they don't accuse you, neither do I. But not these Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yep. So, anyway, like I said, I'm going to put the link down below. And at least you made it through that one without any M&Ms.
Yeah, well, it's because I'm still sucking on that pot of coffee from the last video we did.
No wonder you're so wired. 2 pots of coffee is way too much caffeine for you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for watching. And like I said, I'm going to put the links for all of this down below.
Yeah.
And this is not fake news because it's right on the jw.org website. Of course, we know they're going to tweak it, to make them look like the poor victims.
Yeah, well, that's how they continue to be able to, swim in the mire, is by saying, well, these are apostate-generated lies. When the truth is presented, even in their own literature, they will discredit and or try to destroy their own literature.
Kill the messenger, too.
Now, how extreme is that when you feel you have to destroy your own literature? The very basis of who and what Jehovah's Witnesses are written out in all that literature that they printed. And when you try to show them where they flip-flop the doctrine or anything from their own literature, they're afraid. Now, how extreme is that when you're even afraid to look at your own literature? My goodness. My goodness. It's just unfathomable.
Yes.
Did I pronounce that one? Because I noticed I pronounced the word incorrectly at the end of our last video. I did pronounce that one correctly. All right.
Love you all. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.